Hi there. Hi there, my friends. How's everybody doing? I'm going to finish Willie's adventures. Remember I told you it had 3 stories in this book? Today is called Willie's Walk. That'll be today's story. I'm looking forward to it. How's everyone doing today? Hi, Hannah and Noah. Hi, Samantha and Benny. Hi, I see you. Hi, Iris. Are you playing with toys over there? Hi, Zara and Oliver. Did you just take a nice walk with Mommy? Hey, Hen and Sammy. Hey, Mattia. How's it going? And hi, Madeline. And of course, hi, Kayla and all her little students. I bet you're listening to our stories every day, aren't you? I'm noticing how many people are watching the YouTube channel. That makes me so happy that you're enjoying it. Okay, let's continue with our story, Willie's Adventures. 3 stories by Margaret Wise Brown. I'll show you the pictures and we'll read the words. Willie lived in a small town. His grandmama lived in the country. She telephoned him. That's another way of saying she called him. Back then, that's what the phones looked like. Pretty different than our phones of today, huh? They didn't have cell phones back then. Here's a picture of Grandmama talking on the phone. Come to see me, said Grandmama. When? Asked Willie. Now, said Grandmama. How will I get there? Asked Willie. Those are good questions, aren't they? Do you ever go visit your grandma? What do you call her? My grandkids call me Mimi. Do you call her Grandma? What do you call her? Just say it out loud. I want to hear. Oh, good. Yeah, those are fun names. All right. Walk, said Grandmama. Through the country? Asked Willie. Through the country, said Grandmama. All by myself? Asked Willie. All by yourself, said Grandmama. I've heard that wild flowers are wild, said Willie. They are, said Grandmama, but come anyway. How will I find the way? Asked Willie. Follow your nose, said his Grandmama. That's kind of funny. How would you find the way to your grandma's house? Is she close enough to walk to? Oh, okay, so maybe someone has to drive you there. Here's a picture of Grandma. It looks like she hung up the phone, and then on the next page it looks like Willie is walking. How will I know when I get to your house? Asked Willie. Look inside and you will see me there, said Grandmama, and she hung up. So Willie put on his new suit and he started out. I wonder what's in the pockets. You think he still has all his stuff? He walked out of the town and into the country. He followed his nose. What does that mean to follow your nose? Have you ever followed your nose? How about if somebody's cooking in the kitchen? Did you follow your nose? Here's a picture of Willie. It looks like a little plant. The very first thing that he saw was a wild flower. What does that mean, wildflower? Should he turn around and go back home? No, not Willie. He leaned down and sniffed. It smelled like a violet, so he picked it. Now, you're not going to pick flowers in someone else's yard, but if you're out in the country and out in the field, that might be okay. And Willie walked on to Grandmama. The country looked very big to Willie. There were butterflies in the country. The butterflies fluttered all around his head. Willie had never seen a butterfly before. Have you? When did you see a butterfly? Okay, turn to someone next to you and tell them when you saw a butterfly and what was it doing. I'll wait. Yeah, they are pretty. Okay. Should he turn around and go back home? No, not Willie. He stood stone still until the butterflies fluttered by. Then he picked some smelly weeds that butterflies wouldn't like. Do you think he's a little bit afraid of butterflies? Maybe. Here's a picture of Willie walking with the weeds. You know the definition of a weed. It's just a flower that grows, or a plant that grows where nobody planted it. Isn't that funny? And Willie walked on to Grandmama. Then he came to 3 wild red strawberries. They were almost hidden beneath some very green leaves. But was Willie afraid of a wild strawberry? Would you be afraid of a wild strawberry? No, not Willie. He picked all 3 strawberries and ate 2 of them. I'll suggest when you're out and pick things, don't eat them until you check with your parents. The other one he put in his side pocket so it wouldn't get squashed. And Willie walked on to Grandmama. I like the way he calls her Grandmama. Here's a picture of him walking. What's he looking at? Let's find out. Soon he came to a shallow stream across the road. There was no bridge. How would he ever get across? Uh-oh, what do you think? Turn to someone next to you and let's problem solve. How can he get across? I'll wait. Go ahead and talk. Okay, let's see what you decided. Should he turn around and go back home? You know what it's going to say. It says it on each page. No, not Willie. He took off his shoes and socks. He rolled up his new pants. And barefooted, he waded right through the cold, wet water of the stream. What does that mean, waded? That's right. Oliver, did you know what waded meant? Yeah, to walk through the shallow water. Then he put on his socks and his shoes, and Willie walked on to Grandmama. I wonder what's going to happen next. You like the way the artist draws it? Very few lines, very simple. It makes it look like a hill, doesn't it? Just that line. He came to a hill. It was a very high hill. Should he turn around? Let's say what it says on every page. No, not Willie. He walked up the hill backwards so as not to see how high it was. Oh, that's funny. Have you ever walked backwards? Why did you walk backwards? Just for fun? Okay. Then he walked down the hill backwards so he could see how high the hill had been. And Willie whistled as he walked on to Grandmama. Okay, take a minute. Let me hear you whistle. Get your lips wet. Put your lips together and blow. Can you whistle? Let me hear you. Okay. Here's a picture. Willie's walking, and does that look like a barn? At last he came to a great big house. It had enormous doors. Could this be Grandma's house? Grandmama, Willie went and peeked in the enormous doors. What do you think? What do you see? That's not Grandmama's. The house was full of, that's right, horses. No, Grandmama. Is this something you'd see out in the country, Oliver? What do you think, Noah? Yeah, you might see that out in the country, not usually in our neighborhoods. Here he is looking at another house. What kind of a house is that? Next, he came to a rather small house. It had a little round door in it. Could this be Grandmama's house? Willie went and peeked in the little round door. The house was full of a big, fat dog. Sound asleep. Let me hear how the dog sounded. Was he snoring? No, Grandmama. Then he came to a tiny little house. Uh-oh, what kind of a house is that? Does anybody know? Sammy, what is that? Do you know what that is? Samantha, do you know? I think you're right. It had a tiny, tiny door. Could this be Grandmama's house? Willie went and tried to peek in. Uh-oh, that could be dangerous. But the door was too small. He heard a buzzing, a quiet buzzing. Let me hear a buzzing sound. So he knocked to see who lived there. Ah! That's right, bees, honeybees. No, Grandmama. Now that could be dangerous. Don't poke your head into a little beehive. Have you ever seen one? Where did you see it? Oh, let's see. Where's he going now? Then he came to a white house all covered with red roses. It had a green door and a chimney with smoke coming out. Could this be Grandmama's house? What do you think? Whisper to someone next to you and make your prediction. Oh, what a cute house. Turn the page. Here's a picture of Willie peeking in the window, and that looks like a grandma. Willie went and peeked in one of the windows, and there was Grandmama sitting inside, waiting for Willie to come. "Sake," said Grandmama, "don't stand there. Come on, come in, child." And Willie went inside and gave his Grandmama a great big hug. Then he gave her the wildflower and the bunch of smelly weeds. "Very pretty," said Grandmama. Moms and dads and grandmas always like what their grandkids give them. And she gave Willie, what'd she give him? A glass of milk and a great big piece of chocolate cake. Oh, said Willie, "Here's a little wild strawberry for you." And that was Willie's walk to Grandmama's. And that's the end of our book. Did you enjoy that story? What part did you like? Yeah, I like when he went to the different houses too. So you know Mimi, I'm always collecting things. I'll show you some things you could make into a house. If you have a little mint container, I had gotten this from Trader Joe's. When you're all done with the mints, you can save it and put a little piece of material in there and make that into a little house. This looks like a little house. This is like a little camper. I just had that because I thought it was so cool. Now here's something you might have, and you can make it into a house. You might have an old shoebox, and you could put things in it. You can organize things in there, and you can make that into a house. But let me show you one of my favorites. So this is actually a dollhouse, and Mimi painted it and tried to make it look like our house here. And I painted it the color of the house, and I painted the roof. Oh, did I drop something? That's okay, I'll pick it up. And I even painted the inside to try to make it look like the house here. And I tried to paint a mirror and some walls, and there's a little rug, and there's the floor. And you might have an old dollhouse at your house, and you can ask your parents if you can decorate it. You don't have to paint it. Here's a little car. This can go in the garage. And you could put toys in here and things and make up a story. It's fun to play with a little house. And if you don't have one, you can just use your imagination and make your own out of a cardboard box. Or you can always just draw a picture. Draw a picture of a house. So could you draw a picture of you visiting your Grandmama? Whatever you call her. You can call her Mimi or Grandma. And what would you bring to her? And what kind of adventure would you have on your way to Grandmama's house? Well, just be safe on your way there. And grandparents always love spending time with their grandchildren. So I've enjoyed reading to you today. I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. Love you. Bye. Love Mimi.